I think there is some issue with my video.
I think your video is stuck.
Yep. And we are live. Just a second.
Okay.
No problem. We'll check it. Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Sanjay Gupta. I welcome you on Sanjay Gupta Tech School. So, today I have Poorva with me. So, as you all aware, like we are doing mock interviews. So, in continuation with that, so today we'll be doing some admin related Q&As, right? So, welcome once again, Poorva, on the channel.
Thank you for
And
having me again.
yeah, so I can see with the number of views, like people are liking these kind of sessions very much, and I'm sure like these sessions are helping them in preparing the interview question and answers, right? And sorry guys, there is some glitch in the video, so uh, meanwhile I am figuring out what happened. So let me ask one question from Poorva. So like today also Poorva will be answering all the admin related questions, and wherever like she needs my help, so I will pitch in, and we'll try to share my experiences as well. Okay, so my first question would be, uh, can you tell us about different clouds available in Salesforce?
Absolutely. I think this question, not in terms of interview perspective, but this question is going to be helpful for people anyway because they are not aware about the clouds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer this question from an interview's point of view, as well as I'm going to explain some basic stuff. So one-liner definitions about each and every cloud also, so that it will be helpful for people to understand that what all Salesforce offers. So in Salesforce, basically we have 6 types of primary clouds. We have Salesforce Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, which is absolutely free, which comes by default by Salesforce, which is used for sales. And I'll explain each one of them separately. Then we have Marketing Cloud, which is also known as Salesforce Marketing Cloud, SFMC. Then we have Commerce Cloud, which is also known as SFCC, Salesforce Commerce Cloud. Then we also have Health Cloud, we have Finance Cloud. And that's how we have all these clouds in Salesforce. If we talk about Sales Cloud, which captures your sales process in Salesforce, basically, it helps you to capture your opportunities, contacts, lead management. All of this is managed under one roof, which is considered in sales, and it is captured as Salesforce Sales Cloud. Then we have Service Cloud, means Service Cloud just customer service, anything related to cases, ticketing, all of these, which is helping you, maybe live agent, omni studio, all of these are considered, not omni studio, that is considered as separate velocity, but service cloud means anything related to customer service. If you are providing any specific service to your customers, you can manage in service cloud. Then marketing cloud means anything you deal with marketing, like if you want to send some email campaigns, run some email campaigns, or send some mass bulk emails, do any kind of marketing, then you have marketing cloud in place. Then if we talk about commerce cloud, means it is also known as IoT, Internet of Things. That means it was earlier known as experience cloud. Now it is known as commerce cloud. So basically it is used for e-commerce websites like Myntra, Amazon, or eBay, any e-commerce websites. These platforms are using e-commerce cloud so that they can manage their business, that kind of e-commerce business, into commerce cloud. Then we have Experience Cloud. That is different. So Experience Cloud was earlier known as communities, and with the help of that, you are able to create portals. Like you have Idea Exchange portal, or you have partner portals. All of these portals can be managed using Experience Cloud. Then you have Health Cloud and Finance Cloud. That is specifically for those industries. If a healthcare industry wants to use Salesforce, they can specifically use the Healthcare Cloud for their businesses. And similarly, it goes with Finance Cloud, where finance industries, banking, and all of that, they can, or mutual fund advisors, all of these people have started using Finance Cloud of Salesforce. So this is how these many clouds are there in Salesforce, which you can explain with the help of example of each one of the clouds.
Yeah, uh, brilliantly explained, and I think you covered lots of clouds. One quick check here, like if you want to know the list of available clouds, so just visit salesforce.com, and at top left corner you will find products. So there you will find some basic products like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud. Now two more clouds are added: Data Cloud, AI Cloud. And if you click on industries, so all the industry related clouds list will be available there, right? And one more thing we can add, like all these clouds are having pre-built configuration. So on top of that, like if any customer wants some customization, so like as a consultant or consultancy firm, we just need to modify that particular cloud configuration as per the customer's need, right? And rest, I think Poorva already covered individual clouds. So whenever interviewer is asking, tell me different clouds, so don't just tell the names. Like explain it little bit more clearly, so that interviewer understand like you have lots of cloud knowledge. And sales and service are common, so just go tell like Poorva explained finance cloud as well. So you also need to touch those. Experience cloud, these are like these are the clouds which like all the consultants and developers or freshers doesn't really talk. Okay, so I think we can move on to the next question. So, like in today's session, lots of questions which we are targeting are basically for fresher interview, right? So you will see some basic questions if you are experienced folk. So if you are fresher, then these questions and answers will be really helpful for you. So next question, Poorva, for you is, tell me what are objects and fields in Salesforce?
Right. So I always love to explain either the interviewer or my candidates with the help of some real life examples, which makes it easy for people to, learn it and remember it. So when we talk about objects and field, the best example which I always give is how you organize your cupboards at home. When you're organizing your cupboards at home, you keep your trousers at different sections, you keep your footwears at different sections, and you just organize your cupboard in that way so that it will look clean. Same way in Salesforce, you have different objects where you keep your data not in one place, but in different sections or in different objects. So that we call as objects. So in objects, we have two types of objects in Salesforce. We have standard object and custom object. Standard object are those which are given to you by default by Salesforce. And custom objects are those which you create as an admin or as a developer. So that's the difference between standard object and custom object. And custom object is just like the spreadsheet which you put in Salesforce in more graphical representative manner. That's the only difference. So it provides you fields. Now, when we talk about fields, that means we are just understanding that where exactly to put the data. So, for example, if you are belonging to education industry, if you have a school, then you will be entering your student's name, address, class, marks, and all of that. So all this type of information you will store in Salesforce in the form of fields. So if you go or refer the Excel file, the columns are known as the objects and the rows are known as the records. So this is how you identify between object, fields, and records. These three things go in parallel, where we just discuss and talk and explain more about what is object, just to store the information or the data in Salesforce, and fields means what exactly and where exactly you are going to put the data, and records means what exactly you are going to enter as entity in Salesforce. So that is the definition of object, field, and record.
Okay, nicely explained. And I'm really very sorry about the video. I'm trying to start, but don't know what is happening. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Like we have lots of applications in Salesforce, which we say as app. So can you tell me, like, can we create more than one application in Salesforce? If yes, like what is the advantage or uses of app in Salesforce?
Right, absolutely. So I will continue the same example. For example, you are organizing your cupboards at home and you are falling short of place. You have already organized your clothes and accessories and footwears in a proper way, but you are falling short of place. So in that case, we use hangers, and we use extra sections or things like that in order to keep our stuff in proper way. Similarly, if you compare the same example in Salesforce, how you do it, if you already have some inbuilt apps provided by Salesforce, like marketing, sales, service, these are the apps which are provided by Salesforce. But on the top of that, if you belong to a different industry like education, healthcare, you will have to create some custom apps where you can put the data into these applications. So yes, we can answer the apps. We can create more than one application in Salesforce. And there are two types of apps which you can create. There is one console navigation and there is one standard navigation app which you can create in Salesforce. So console navigation apps are primarily used to create console view where you can have some sub tabs into one tab rather than having separate objects looking at besides each other. And in standard navigation, whatever you see, if you go to marketing app or if you go to sales app, the similar type of structure you create in standard app. So this is, I think, good explanation that if you try to explain the answer of the questions by explaining the practical knowledge which you have gained, if you have created application, you will know the answer that what kind of apps you can create in Salesforce and what is the use of creating these applications. So I think that's how we can answer it, as my opinion.
Yeah, I think very well answered, and I'm back on video. So
Thank you.
nothing is there that I can add. So these were simple questions. Now I'm going to throw a difficult question to you. So
Okay.
and it is very much interesting as well, which is related to relationships. So we have two major relationships in Salesforce. One is lookup, and one is master detail. So what are the differences, and in which scenario we need to go for lookup, and in which we need to go for master detail?
Absolutely. So as you rightly mentioned, this question itself is complicated and the relationships are itself complicated, whether in personal life or in professional
Right.
life.
Yeah.
It's always complicated, but that is important. It's very important for each and every individual, any relationship, right? So similarly in Salesforce also, relationship is the base of any objects. So if I have to define relationship in a simple words, it's simply connecting objects. You can connect one object with many objects, which will have one to many relationship. You can connect with many objects also, like you can connect multiple objects with each other using junction object, which will be considered as many to many.
Right.
So when we're talking about master detail or lookup relationship, we have to understand the combinations also which you can make using these relationships. So let's first try to understand that what are these types of relationships. So I will take example of standard relationship first because we have accounts, contacts, and opportunity. This is the best way to understand relationship in Salesforce. So for example, if you have one account in Salesforce which you have created, now you will create multiple opportunities associated with one particular account. That means you are creating one to many relationship here, which is standard given by Salesforce. Same with account and contact. You have one to many because you are creating many contacts associated with one particular account. But can you imagine the situation vice versa? Can a person work in multiple companies at the same time? No. Can a person have multiple parents at the same time? No. But a parent can have multiple children. So that is also a parent-child relationship which is defined in Salesforce, where one parent will have multiple children, as simple as that. One account will have multiple contacts, but one can contact or one opportunity cannot have multiple accounts. So that's the best way to understand and simplify it if you want to understand relationship. And I always say give this example as the best example to explain, because you will not get confused. Otherwise, if you try to explain relationship with any other example, you will get stuck because it is complicated to explain. So this account, contact, and opportunity example is the best example. So we have understood two types of relationship now, one to many and many to many. Now, when you're creating many to many relationship, you need someone, right? Let's try to understand with a very uh, cringy example, I can say. For example, if you like someone, if you want to approach them, you need some messenger, right? You need some mediator to connect with the person. Similarly, in Salesforce, if you want to connect many objects or more than one object, you need one mediator, which is known as junction object. So junction object is nothing, but it helps you to combine multiple objects. I'll take another reasonable example if you want to understand more about it. For example, you have school, teachers, and students, which is the common project we all practice in Salesforce as a beginner also, right? So you need school as junction object if you want to combine student and teachers together. So school is one common object which is combining the students as well as the teachers. So you cannot combine school students and teachers directly. So that's why if you want to explain junction object also, it is nothing but one object which is combining more than two objects. So now we have talked about many to many, we have talked about one to many. Now there is one more which is self relationship, which an object can create with himself or herself or themselves. So an account can have a self relationship with account itself. A user can have a self relationship with user itself. For example, if you want on user record to capture the managers of the users, so you can create a manager field on the user record, and that will be considered as self relationship. Then we have hierarchical relationship. That means you want to define a hierarchy in Salesforce, like we have account hierarchies, and we also have users and roles. That also defines the hierarchical relationship. That kind of relationship is also used in approval processes, where if you want to send approvals to the hierarchy, some managers or managers manager, then you can have a hierarchical relationship. Then you also have indirect lookup relationship and external lookup relationship. This is used when a third party system is involved. When you are integrating Salesforce with SAP or any other CRM, then you will have to create a field or a relationship between these two objects or these two CRMs in order to flow your data from one CRM to another CRM. Then you will use either indirect lookup relationship or you will use external lookup relationship. So these are the some types of relationship. In one example only you can explain all these relationships. Now we will come to master detail relationship and lookup relationship. Master detail you are going to use when you want to control one object. So master itself explains you that it is controlling person. So in our daily lives also we have, in partners also we have one partner who is more dominating. It's always the case. Similarly in Salesforce also, if you are talking about master detail relationship, the master object will control the children. The best example, if you are deleting, if you have created master detail relationship and if you are deleting one of the object, the master one, the child records will automatically be deleted. That's the major difference between a master detail and a lookup relationship. Whereas in lookup relationship, the child records remains the same. There is no effect on the child records. So it behaves separately. They have their separate entities in Salesforce. So that's the difference between master detail and lookup relationship also. And when you have to create it, if you want to analyze it more, you have to figure out that if you want the master record to be controlling in Salesforce, then you have to choose master detail. And if you want two objects to behave separately as separate entities, then you have to choose lookup relationship.
Yeah, nicely explained. One thing someone is asking about, can we have any real-time example for self relationship?
Yes, relationship, for example, if you want to capture your manager's manager on a user page. So there is no standard field in Salesforce which will help you to capture the manager's manager. You only have manager field. So you will create a self relationship between user and user so that you can capture the information of another user onto the same object. So
Right.
that's the example.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, so on account record there is a lookup to account already created, which is labeled as parent account,
Parent account,
right?
yeah.
So if in a case like you have one parent company and that company is having lots of child companies under an umbrella, so in that case you can use that self lookup. Okay, and uh, so you compared lookup and master detail, but like you didn't cover security thing. So can you elaborate those things as well, like how security applies in master detail and how in lookup?
Right. See, so security, when we talk about security, there are lots of things, and people get confused between when to apply OWD, when it's applied, and when to use role hierarchy, when to use sharing settings, opportunity teams, territory. A lot of sharing things are there. So let us sum up this whole security model of Salesforce is there are only two types of sharing which is provided by Salesforce: record level sharing and object level sharing. So if you remember things like that, then it will be easy for you to remember it even after 10 years in Salesforce. So if you want to talk about object level security, that means we have profile and permission set, which is covered into object level security. If you want to talk about record level security, then comes everything under record level security because you're controlling the records. If you want your users not to see the object itself on the top of any app, then you will use profiles and permission set. You cannot hide the object itself from any other feature in Salesforce. So object level security straight away go to permission set and profiles. But if you want to segregate into and bifurcate into or narrow down your search, then you will use record level security with the help of rule hierarchies, with the help of OWDs, or with the help of manual sharing or team sharing and territory sharing at the end. So role hierarchy means you are just sharing the data on the basis of roles. For example, if a manager, they should be able to see the data of the team members. However, the team members should not be able to see the data of the role. So the person who is above in the role hierarchy will have access to the person's data who is below in the role hierarchy. That's simple. This is with the help of role hierarchy. Then you have OWDs, org wide defaults. So I'll start from basic because this is specifically for freshers.
Poorva,
So
just to interrupt, can you just relate it with lookup and master detail as well?
Yes, sure. So when you are using master detail relationship and lookup relationship, the security will work as it is. For example, if you have created master detail relationship on account with any other object and or lookup with any other object, the security will work on the top of it, and the person will have the same level of access what he has on their profile level. So
Yeah,
the
so
access or the
yeah,
security will be driven from the top level only.
yeah. So just to add on there, like in master detail, the master object security will apply on child. Like if you have access to master record, then only you will be able to access child. But in case of lookup, it is not the case, right? So this is the minor difference if we talk about security in these two. So there I remember a simple word which we can remember. So master detail is tightly coupled and lookup is loosely coupled,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. Just continue with the record level security thing now.
Sure. So then comes the OWD, that means org wide default. So that settings, we have four types of settings, right? Private, public read only, public read write, and public read write transfer. So private means it's private. The data is private. Nobody will be able to see each other's data. And public read only means the data will be read only, but nobody will be able to edit it. And read write means everybody will have access, full access on each other's records. So OWD is set on object level because it is org wide default, and it is set for the whole organization. You cannot bifurcate it on the basis of roles, profiles, or users. Once it is set for the whole organization will follow the same settings. And then you can bifurcate with sharing rules. If you want to expand the access, if the OWD is set as private for any object, you can just expand it with the help of sharing rules, or you can share the records with the help of manual sharing or territory sharing. These type of models can be used if you want to understand or apply the security in Salesforce.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. So there is one question from chat. So uh, it is related to conversion, like lookup to master detail. So how to convert lookup to master detail?
Right. So you can anytime convert lookup to master detail, but a few considerations like you don't have to, there should not be any active records on that particular object. Otherwise, it will not allow you to convert the lookup to a master detail. And master detail cannot be converted to a lookup. Vice versa is not possible. Only lookup can be converted to master detail, and only two master details are allowed on any object. So that's the simple answer. If you have anything to add.
Yeah, so like if you are converting lookup to master detail, so uh, initially, like if you are not having any records, so we can directly convert, there will not be any issues. But if records are available, so what you need to do, you just need to populate that lookup field, and then you can simply convert that lookup to master detail. And as an architect, I would suggest, like if you are creating any object, so you just need to decide in initial phase whether to have master detail or not, because if you have created lookup and in the middle of the like implementation, when you have created lots of records, if you try to convert lookup to master detail, so it would mess up the things.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we have one more question. Can we have more than one master objects? So answer will be yes, and we can have two master objects. Saurabh. And Siraj is asking if we have parent, like parent object is having record access, child don't have any access. So I'm thinking he's asking about object level access, like if child is not having object access, so can he be able to see? Yeah, so access should be there, and if object and field access are there, then only record access will be there.
Right, because profile is the head of Salesforce. If a
and-
person does not have access through profile, then this will
Right.
not work.
And one more thing, like whenever we are creating, we are going on to the sharing rules and we are changing OWD. So there is one option controlled by parent. So if you have that option, then basis on the parent, you will be having the security on your child. But provided you should have object access.
Yes.
So Ayappa is asking about with sharing and without sharing in Apex. So we are not discussing about this thing right now. So we are skipping it. So one more question related to OWD. So whenever we apply OWD, so there are three options: public read, public write, and public transfer. So if you can add something.
So what they're asking exactly? Type
Like-
OWD.
No, whenever we try to make any object OWD to private, so other than private, there are other options are available: public read only, public read write, and public transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So private is straightforward, like you won't be able to access the records. But if we do public read only, so record will be shared, but you won't be able to modify the records. And if you have public read write, then like you can view and edit the records. But again, on object level, if you have access, edit access, then only. And transfer is for lead, like if you want to transfer lead into account, contact, and opportunity. So transfer is basically for that purpose. Okay, so I think we can pick next one, roll up summary, if you can talk about that.
Sure. So we have already talked about master detail. Now, before starting about roll-up summary, you should know that only roll-up summary can be created when you have a master detail relationship between two objects. Otherwise, you cannot create roll-up summary field. So roll-up summary field gives you the access to perform 4 types of operations on the object. You can find the sum, minimum, maximum, and average. Means, for example, if you want to find the opportunities, that how many opportunities are associated or added on one particular account, then you can use the count operation using the roll-up summary field, and you can count the number of opportunities or number of records associated with that particular object. Then you can also summarize it. For example, you have a closed amount on the opportunity, and if you want the sum of all those opportunities which are added on the account level, the sum of all those opportunities, so you can use the roll-up summary field in order to find out the sum of all total opportunities. Similarly, if you want to find out the minimum amount out of all those records added onto the object, and maximum also, you can do that. There is more to it. You can also filter down the data using the criteria option in roll-up summary field. If you want to find out the amount of only closed won opportunities, then you have the filter option also available, which we rarely use. So it is good to explore that feature also. Yep, so that's it about roll-up summary field. If you want to
Yeah,
add
I
something.
think you have covered everything. So I want to take one more question. Like Saurabh is asking, OWD is private. Then can manager access the records of the user who is under the manager?
If the OWD is private and if the access is expanded through
Role
role
hierarchy.
hierarchy,
Right.
then yes, they
Yeah.
will be able to access it.
Yeah, I think Saurabh, you got the answer. Okay, so Kunal is asking, what if you need roll up on a lookup? So through configuration, can we do? No, right?
Yeah, no, we cannot.
Yeah.
It has
So
to be master. It's a standard
right,
limitation of
and
functionality.
still, if you want to create roll ups on lookup relationships, so you need to implement a trigger for that. Sai Mahesh, okay. So one group records shouldn't access to view by another group in the hierarchy, but both the groups have the same profile, then how we can achieve?
Uh,
If you are talking about role hierarchy, so role hierarchy means like the subordinate record will be shared who is above in the hierarchy, and if we have two groups, so in that case, like sharing rules will be a good fit. Sai Mahesh, in my opinion. And your question is little bit confusing. You are just saying hierarchy, so I just want to confirm, like, is it role hierarchy or something else? Sneha is asking, is there any standard junction object available in Salesforce by default? I think yes, there are a lot more available.
yes, you can take the example of opportunity products and opportunity product. Opportunity product is junction object, which is combining opportunity and the product object.
Right. So there are lots of junction objects available, Sneha. So someone is asking how roll-up summary field behave in junction object. So like if you are creating a junction object, so it will be having two master detail. So basically roll-up we create on master. So I think both the parents will be having separate roll-up fields created, right?
Yes, because it doesn't affect the master object. You have to create it separately because it is created on the parent
Master,
object
yeah.
only.
So if we are creating roll up on master record. So
Yeah.
we have two master records. So on both we can create it separately.
Yes, relating to other child record object.
Yeah. Okay, so Ayappa is asking look up to master, but in the object there is large amount of data. How to do that? So I already told you in all the records you need to populate that lookup field. So how you can do it mass level? So you need to export the data, then import the data having that lookup field populated, and then only you will be able to convert. So or maybe you can create some automation through that you can fill that lookup field. Okay, one more interesting question. If two managers have same profile, so is it possible to see each other profile? I think this question is incomplete. He is asking if two managers have same profile, so it is possible to see each other profile?
I think he must be asking if they are able to see each other's data. So yes, if they have same profile, they have same access, they will be able to see it.
Not each other's data, that depends on record level security actually. But other than that, they will be having same things.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So Siraj is asking how to provide org level security.
Through OWDs.
Yep.
Right? Private,
No,
public,
he
public,
org level
free,
security,
right?
I am assuming, not record level security. He's asking about org level, like org level we can have like user access or password policies, those kind of things.
Okay, that is managed under profile. You have password policies
Yeah,
and login IP ranges. All of these can be managed through profiles. And you have under session settings also, you have all these settings where you can manage the login IP address and browser cookie settings and all of that under
right.
sessions. So that can be controlled through on the organization level.
Yeah. So Kunal is asking junction object how to identify and explain it in interview. So,
See.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. The junction object is used in many to many object to join the multiple or many objects. And the if you want to explain with the help of example, you can take the example of students, teachers, and school, where school is acting as a junction object, combining teachers and students together. So that's how you can explain the junction object. It's nothing but one object which is combining other objects.
Yeah, and just to add one thing here, uh, if any object is having two master detail field
Yes.
created, so that will be actually junction object. So in normal case, like for lookup, this rule doesn't apply because junction is having a nature like if you delete any master record, so junction record should also be deleted. So
Yeah.
that's where you can answer. Uh, there is one question I am not aware about it. I am just asking to you if you know. You can otherwise we can skip. So he's asking what is entitlement and milestone tracker. Is it similar to escalation rule?
Okay, so this is related to Service Cloud actually, entitlements and milestones. This is created usually to track SLAs and all of that. So this is used on cases. This is related to escalation rule and similar we cannot say because escalation rules are created to escalate the cases and manage the tier 1, tier 2 stuff on cases. But entitlements and milestones are used to capture the SLA. It primarily works on the SLA if SLA is followed on cases on time or not. So that's how you create entitlements and milestones in Salesforce.
Okay. Shrikant is asking how we can set IP address. So I think you already answered it.
Session settings, yes. Under the setup in session settings, you will find the IP address for organization and it is also there on profile also. Login IP ranges.
Okay. Next question. Difference between page layout and record page.
Record layout, record types, right?
No, page layout and record page, lightning record
Oh,
page.
okay. So page layout is where you manage the fields, sections, and how to rearrange the fields, how to make the page look better. Record page includes the buttons and everything also. That is lightning page or lightning record page, which you can customize, which includes your related list section, which includes your report sections, your chatter, tabs. All of this is managed under the record pages, which you can customize. And page layout is only to control the fields, the read only. If the field is read only, if you want to make the field required, then you can control these settings with the help of page layouts. And both the record pages and the page layouts can be assigned to different profiles through the assignments.
Right. Just to add one thing, like on page layout, we can have related list as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah, rest I think you covered. Okay. Next is lightning pages. So one you already covered record page. Other than record page, what all lightning pages we have?
Right. So we have homepage components also under the lightning pages, which you can create, and you can add some dashboards, accordions, and a lot of stuffs are on the homepage components also. And you can create more lightning pages on the custom lightning pages. Like you can change the whole standard view of the pages by assigning those pages to org level or to profile level or to app level also.
Right. Okay. Next is what is the usage of validation rule?
Right. So validation rule, when we are talking about making a field required, right? So I'll add something to it. Whenever somebody is asking you to make a field required, there are various ways to do it. First thing, you can do it at the field level, which will be required for everyone by default for all the profiles. And then you can make the field required on the page layout, which will be applicable to the profiles whom the page layout is assigned. Then the third comes the validation rule, where you can make the field required, or you can throw some errors on the basis of some criteria. If you want to make the same field required, like opportunity stage, if you want to make required when the closed reason is filled as something, then you want to make that field required, you can do that. Lots of permutations and combinations are there which you can use through validation rule, of you can achieve through validation rule. It is just a way of throwing an error in Salesforce using some criteria. If you want that amount should not exceed more than 10,000, then you can have the validation rules. Anything you want to control or restrict, you use validation rules.
Yeah. So now let's pick some questions from chat. So someone is asking, what if an object has one master detail and one lookup? So does it is considered as junction object? So in my opinion, no.
To master detail, it should be. If
Right.
it is junction object, then only it will be considered as junction.
Yeah. And related to this question, there is one more question: how we can identify the primary and secondary object? So I think the first one which we create will be considered as primary.
Yes.
Yeah. Next is if two
And
you.
also, sorry, also in order to identify what is primary object, you will see the related list as only for the child object. So
Yeah, on
that is
parent.
also.
Yeah, on parent. So if we have two parents, so both the parents will be having the related list.
Yeah.
And one more question is, in junction objects, which master object sharing security applicable? So I think the first one, master.
Right.
Yeah. Then one is related to security. If two users have under different profiles, how can they see each other's data? So I think, Sudhir, you need to understand data security properly. Through profiles, like records are not shared or not controlled. So it is controlled through record level security, OWD roles, which Poorva already explained. So in my opinion, like we are doing mock interview sessions, so we are assuming like you have gone through the concepts properly. So just understand that concept well, because the question you are asking, it is not correct. Okay. And if we see it from profile perspective, so if we have two users and two profiles, so in that case they will be able to access the objects and fields as per their profile, right? So each other comes for records, not for like object and fields. Okay, next is, so another interesting question Suraj is asking, if I have two master detail object and one junction object there, and I want to delete one filed on junction object, what effect on one of the master object? No effect. So
Yeah,
here,
feed
yeah,
is talking about. So
yeah, I think from junction, if we delete anything, nothing happens on master. But if we delete any record from master, so that related entry in junction will be deleted.
yeah.
Okay, so next is how to give access to lightning component. Select users, what is custom? Okay, he is asking three questions together. So yeah, this is also like not related to admin. It is related to development. And Sneha is asking one more question. I want to delete some customer records, but don't want anyone else to recover. what can I do? So I think admin can recover.
Yeah, recycle bin can be controlled by admins only. None of the users have access to. No, I think there, if the customer record is owned by you, then you
Yeah,
will be able to recover it from recycle bin. But apart from that, only admins can recover it if the record owner is different.
right. Another one is, what is business hours? So do you have any idea about
Okay.
this?
Yes. So business hours is something where, so in my company, first company, Cognizant, what they used to do is they used to set up business hours for us. Like if the shift timing is from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m., we were allowed to log in only during that time. So we were logged out and thrown out of Salesforce automatically as soon as the business hours are over. So this setting can be controlled under setup. Business hours is the name where you can control the login of your users during those business hours. Similarly, you have holidays also where you can set up holidays in Salesforce. If 25th of December is a holiday, then none of your users will be able to log in during that day. So it's just to control the login during those hours.
Okay, yeah, I think we are good on time. So we already did this session for 50 minutes. So I think we can wrap it here because we'll be having a couple of more sessions on admin stuff. And I think today's session was more interesting because lots of folks involved and they asked good questions. And I appreciate Poorva your efforts as well. Like you really very well answered those questions. So people are liking your like you are relating answers with real life scenarios. So like uh, Kunal is appreciating your efforts. So it is great. And maybe tomorrow we will deep dive on security more, right?
Yeah.
So okay. Anything you want to add or you want to say to viewers so that they can be prepared for next session?
Yeah, I would say that they can do some homework before because these are mock interviews, right? So we are covering the concepts also because it helps people to use the example. And another advice is use example in order to explain any of the concept to your interviewers. That will really help you to crack the stuff. That's the advice from my end. And I'm also enjoying these sessions because of these sessions, as Salesforce is vast, right? So we are not able to cover each and everything, but because of these sessions we are able to talk about important stuff which people will be able to relate and understand and remember it. So it's good that we are able to use these and we have come up with this idea. So I'm sure people will be able to make the best use of it.
Yeah, I'm sure too. And I think now people will follow all the sessions because now we are talking technical.
Yeah.
So people like technical stuff more if we talk about Salesforce. So yeah, let's see how much sessions we will be able to conduct. So guys, we have planned 3 for admin and I think 3 4 for development, but we'll see like how it goes. Okay, so with this note, I take your leave and thanks to Poorva for sparing some time for the community. And I'm sure it is helping a lot of people. Thank you, Poorva.
Thank you,
So,
Sanjay, for inviting me.
yeah, guys, see you tomorrow with the new lot of questions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.